Attention duelists! Attention duelists! Public service announcement, everyone. I think I might have broke my pinky, and it's been really sore for like 3 days. Oh, sorry, Yugioh, yes. Personally, I don't think I've ever had less motivation to play Yugioh. When the reigning European champion isn't interested in the game, you know things might be especially bad right now. There's been a ridiculous amount of drama this week. Let's break this down. To say that Yu-Gi-Oh players are whiny little entitled babies would be an insult to babies. However, something is feeling a little bit different this time around. So, welcome back to another discussion video. Subscribe for more content like this. I know the feedback has generally been quite positive for the breakdowns and discussions one-on-ones like this. So hit that bell notification and maybe Patreon as well if you're really enjoying the content. Let's break down the past week's drama in complete depth. Number 1, ban list! New ban list drop, baby! And Block Dragon is finally, reading the script for the next ban. We had a ban list announcement, kind of. Number 2, let's talk about the format and why people are upset going into this massive WCQ season. Number 3, we'll talk about how expensive the upcoming format is starting to shape up to be. Number 4, there's been a new Maxi card that's been upsetting everyone. And final number 5, let's talk a little bit about Quarter Century Bazinga and Speed Duel shutting down. And of course, we'll round off with some general personal thoughts, conclusions, etc. Let's proceed. The next Forbidden and Limited List update will be coming in late August, so we can see the impact of the Infinite Forbidden on the game before making any changes. We're excited to see everyone's deck building creativity on display once info is released. Yeah, so there is no ban list specifically for the WCQ season next week and the week after for any WCQ and Euros respectively. The Continental Championships will be played under the current format with the new set, and most important of all, the World Championship playoff played on the Friday of each respective event's continental tournament to decide who will be heading on over to the World Championship, the best, highest, craziest, most stringent competitive type of Yu-Gi-Oh ever played outside of the World Championship, decided in this current format. This current format that's been so exciting with Snake Eye, but now there's feindsmith. The positive takeaways here is that, well, Konami communicated. Thank you, Konami. This is genuinely helpful. Please keep doing more stuff like this. While the communication from Konami is sporadic, to say the least, there has been improvements slowly, incrementally over time, especially over the last year with regards to communications with the players. Actually telling people what the format is going to look like 2 weeks before the event is sufficient by comparison to what we've had before. It's cutting it tight, but it's something, and it's always a net positive when more communication is to be had. Hopefully, this is setting a precedent for the future. Well, the negatives here really isn't so much the communication aspect. It ties into point number 2, which is the format itself. Now, I don't know if you've paid attention to many of the combos with regards to feindsmith, and if you started to look into and dabble with the new engine that is going to be available in basically every single deck. We're seeing a engine and a deck and one-card combos that are on the level of potentially taking on full power tier limit. Because if you're able to stand up to tier limit of all decks, then you know that this might be a problematic format. The difference here is that a tier mirror match was pretty decent. A Snake Eye mirror match now, the world champion states, Euros testing is going crazy. You rolled 2 dice. 2 World Championship playoff duelists said the following: people don't realize the new TCG exclusive cards made feindsmith Snake Eye combos even more broken. I have 2 buys for the EU WCQ and I couldn't care less. Konami, fix your game. Testing for Euros has been the most demoralizing format I've seen in a while. Whoever designed feindsmith needs a reality check. I genuinely don't want to put efforts in for the playoffs, and I've planned most of my July around testing, but I might just use it to play Lorcana instead. And again, a lot of this comes down to one-card combos. When your singular 1 copy of Dark Beckoning Beast or Snake Eye Ash can end on about 4 or 5 disruptions, then that is a hugely problematic issue for the game. Because it means that now everyone has to clog their entire deck list with multiple hand traps, because drawing 1 hand trap, sometimes 2 hand traps, isn't enough to stop the power of these decks when they have such powerful one-card combos plus extenders. And for those of you who have not been acquainted yet with a single copy of a feindsmith engraver, or any 2 monsters, that's really the point here, is if you recall, about 5 or 6 years ago, we had Nightmare Mermaid, and basically everyone with 2 monsters on the field were combining into a Nightmare Phoenix or Cerberus, and then going up into a Nightmare Mermaid, discarding a card and performing full Orcus combo. People got very sick of that very quickly in 2018, so naturally, this is creating a gameplay loop where going first is so unbelievably unbelievably powerful that you, again, as mentioned, need to drop 2+ hand traps to stand a chance going second. And even with board breakers going second, they just have so many tools and resources available to them outside of just on the field with the grave in the hand that things like Droplet, Dart Ruler Evenly Matched aren't enough by themselves in the same way that you would hope most breakers to work. And with a list coming after these major events in late August, safe to assume Feindsmith isn't going to be touched one bit. Snake Eye might bite the dust potentially, but we'll see because it's the World Championship in September, meaning that it feels kind of weird for them to immediately kill a deck just before the World Championship. So what that means is I wouldn't be surprised if we'll be playing with these cards for yet even longer. Now let's talk about topic number 3. Let's say you are interested in playing with these Feindsmith cards, which admittedly, there is something enjoyable and cathartic about doing insane one-card combos or playing through multiple disruptions and hand traps to set up some sort of an adequate field, but, you know, not when you're on the receiving end of it. But regardless, you're probably going to be playing this format and this deck if you clicked on this video, and if you are, well, you'll be happy to be introduced that things are looking pretty great for budget players, provided that budget players are willing to rob a bank. On the plus side, a lot of the extra deck pieces are commons and super. In fact, very low rarity cards for some of these important combo enablers, as well as some exclusives, which has made Feindsmith even more powerful somehow, if that was even possible. But of course, the 3 ofs and the very important Feindsmith and Engraver himself is a secret rare. And also, don't forget the fact that every single deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Can probably jam in the Feindsmith engine. This is further inflating the price of this product. I saw pre-sales on a UK retailer for £70. Now on eBay, £95 for a singular copy of Engraver, about $300 for the set. Cheapest on TCG Player was over $100 per pop, and in Europe, it's about the same in euros. We don't need to obviously over-explain why card expensive bad, but when an average teenager's part-time job pay for a week can't even afford a playset of Engraver, kind of problematic, right? I mean, who is the game priced for at that point? Seeing a lot of complaining about rarities and info, which is understandable to a large extent, but when you also saw the same people complaining about how bad value-wise sets have been, like Phantom Nightmare, Legacy of Destruction, it's a bit crazy. Infinite Forbidden is the first core set since Age of Overlord, worth buying. Ha, okay, vendor. There's some interesting things to unpack here, which is a video topic in and of itself, but I'll try to give the most briefest rundown and explanation of why this is a problem. And I promise you that it isn't as simple as make card lower rarity. So if all the good cards in a deck are cheap, that's great for us because now we can afford to buy decks for like $100 to $200 max, which in the context of other card games is reasonable, because right now as it stands you are paying about $900 total for a Snake Eye Feindsmith deck, main and extra. Now if all the cards are easy and cheap to pull, that's going to be bad for vendors, which, I mean, who cares about the Yu-Gi-Oh landlord? Well, the difference between landlords and vendors is that it means that local game stores won't be able to support Yu-Gi-Oh. Nobody needs to buy the product, so the boxes crash in price, so now the store is in debt to spending on product that no one wants to buy. You do this for enough sets and local stores bleed money on Yu-Gi-Oh! And then they decide, well, we don't want to sell Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore because it's just a massive loss. That is the gist of why it's bad for the economy of the game. Now, I'm not trying to justify this, I'm just explaining the objective truth and reality of what happens when every card is cheap. This is a fundamental cart before the horse type of problem because the issue isn't change the rarities of the cards, it's a product thing that needs to maybe be completely re-envisioned. Both sides of the discussion here are correct in some way. If cards are cheap, boxes become worthless. If boxes become worthless, then stores shut down. If stores shut down, there's no game to play. It's a really bad cycle that needs to be addressed. There's an incredibly good video on this topic by Kodok that was released 3 years ago that I'll leave a link to in the description, but basically it breaks down mathematically why Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster boxes have specifically a really egregious problem in this regard, more than any other card game, and how to fix this. Topic number 4, Maxi! I should have made this the third topic. Max 3! First, there was La Cucaracha. It's been around for 14 years and still dominating the Mastodon and OCG metagame. And then there was Perulia, pre-selling at 50 a pop, by the way, still. And now, a third Maxi has hit the format. This one being significantly stronger than the previous two in basically every way. I think only Flunder is the deck that gets hurt by Perulia more than this one, because this Mulcharmy card allows you to draw a card for every single special summon your opponent conducts from the main deck or the extra deck. Now, of course, it does have that Mulcharmy army restriction, which is you can't activate it if you control cards. So basically, you can't do your full combo and drop this, which is fundamentally one of the worst aspects of Maxi and absolutely the most frustrating, egregious moments of Yu-Gi-Oh! When you have to go second into a field and crack their board and deal with a Maxi. So this eliminates that part of the issue. The problem is that this multi-army card, and why a lot of people are upset about this, is because of the fact that it is really strong. No, this is actually a new Maxi. No, please. This card, without a doubt, is going to be 100% a staple in every single side deck. You could even main this, and if you go first and you draw it, well, I don't know, use it as a discard or something. Because, like, that's how powerful this is. It could be worth main decking because you will lose half your dice rolls statistically, and it will get a lot of value depending on which deck you're playing against. And so that's a problem for the next set. So, you know, we're dealing with one piece of drama at the time, but that has been one of the major things that has set social media on fire, is this card. Those are the main sort of topics here. Just to touch upon, lastly, there has been the closing down of Speed Duel. Yes, they are shutting down Speed Duel for a rest. I don't know if this is temporary or permanent, or maybe we're getting Rush Duel coming to the West, I suppose. I was going to say TCG, but it's technically not TCG. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but one thing that I thought was really funny was the latest Speed Duel set. It contains Maxi, which is great for Time Wizard formats in the TCG. It means we get some kind of reprint here, because Maxi is a really expensive card, despite it being banned here, because it's very popular in retro formats. Last final thing is the quarter century Bazinga. Yeah, so we're getting Rarity Collection 3, basically. The caveat being is that there is a slot in each booster pack dedicated to a side set and a pool of 200 other cards. So each pack contains one card from that other set. So they've described it as a set within a set, and hopefully that'll have like randomly really useful and good reprints. Specifically Time was, a lot of people have been waiting for things like Dust Shoot, for example, to get reprinted. And you saw in Rarity Collection a bunch of like Time Wizard related cards like Raikou, like Nimble Hamster have been reprinted, because those are old cards. I just haven't seen any reprints in years. I guess that's good. I don't know about you, but maybe some people are feeling fatigue from Rarity Collection, because the second one definitely wasn't as hype as the first one. But I mean, listen, reprints are always good, so as long as the cards are good, I don't think anyone can complain. But whew, what a week, man. Oh my god. Personal thoughts and stuff. I don't know. I'm exhausted. Like I'm tired. I feel tired. Like it was just one bang 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 announcement after the other. It was here's a quarter century product. Here's a new Maxi. Here's a ban list. Oh wait, actually there is no ban list. What am I thinking about the format personally? I think it'll be fine to watch once. Playing it might be very frustrating, but regardless, it's cool to see new cards in action, and I guess that's really my only positive takeaway, is that it's one of those observer things. You ever watch like Stun play against each other in a mirror match, and it's just like the worst duel ever, but it's like really funny? But if you were to put yourself in that position and play it yourself, it sounds like it would be like a nightmare. That's kind of like how I view this upcoming TCG WCQ season. I don't have to partake in it, and at a base level, it's cool to see how broken Yu-Gi-Oh can get, and I think this will probably be one of the most broken formats we've ever seen. So show us what you can do. Thank you so much everyone for watching, and until next time, make sure you Patreon, subscribe for more, and follow me on Twitch specifically, streaming from 2 p.m. UK most days. Bye bye.